Have you ever felt stuck? Like you're running on a treadmill and getting nowhere? That was Alex's life. For years, Alex was trapped in a cycle of frustration, believing that his abilities were set in stone. He was the king of I can't. Alex worked as a graphic designer at a small marketing firm. He was competent, but he never pushed his boundaries. When his boss, Maria, offered him the lead on a major rebranding project, his first thought was, I can't do that. I'm not a big ideas person. He saw his talent as a finite resource, a cup that was already full. This is what we call a fixed mindset. He believed his intelligence and skills were static traits. So he politely declined, suggesting his colleague, Sarah, for the role instead. Watching Sarah lead the project was a turning point for Alex. He saw her struggle, make mistakes, and ask for help. She wasn't born a big ideas person. She was becoming one. She'd stay late, not out of panic, but out of curiosity, experimenting with new software and reading books on brand strategy. One evening, Alex found her in the office, surrounded by sketches. He asked her, "Aren't you afraid of messing this up?" Sarah smiled and said, "Of course, but I'm more afraid of not trying. Every mistake is just a lesson in disguise." That simple phrase, a lesson in disguise, echoed in Alex's mind. He started to wonder, what if he wasn't defined by his current abilities? What if he could learn and grow? This was the first crack in his fixed mindset armor. He decided to test this new idea. He started small, taking an online course in animation, something he'd always told himself he was no good at. The first few weeks were tough. His animations were clunky and awkward. The old voice in his head screamed, "See? I told you so." But this time, a new voice, quieter but persistent, whispered back, "It's just a lesson." What did you learn? Instead of giving up, Alex analyzed his mistakes. He watched tutorials, practiced for an hour every day, and even asked for feedback from an online community. Slowly, but surely, his animations got smoother. He was no longer Alex, the guy who can't do animation. He was Alex, the guy who was learning animation. This shift from a fixed to a growth mindset was profound. It wasn't about being good at everything instantly. It was about believing in his ability to get better over time. Just as Alex was embracing this new way of thinking, a new challenge appeared: the scarcity mindset. The company announced budget cuts, and a cloud of fear descended on the office. Everyone was worried about layoffs. Alex found himself hoarding his best ideas, afraid that sharing them would make his colleagues look better and put his own job at risk. He viewed success as a limited pie. If someone else got a bigger slice, that meant less for him. He saw this scarcity mindset everywhere. People were competing instead of collaborating. The creative energy of the office flatlined. During a team meeting, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. No one was offering real solutions, just protecting their own turf. Alex remembered Sarah's collaborative spirit and realized this wasn't working. That afternoon, he went to a colleague, Ben, who was struggling with the design layout. The old Alex would have kept his distance. The new Alex pulled up a chair. "Hey, I had a similar problem last month," he said. "What if we tried this?" Together, they brainstormed, and within an hour, they had a brilliant solution. The feeling wasn't one of loss, but of shared victory. This small act of generosity sparked a change. Alex started to intentionally shift from a scarcity mindset to one of abundance. He began to believe that there was enough success, opportunity, and creativity to go around. He started sharing resources, offering help freely, and celebrating his colleagues' wins as if they were his own. He realized that helping others didn't diminish his own value, it amplified it. It created a more positive, innovative environment for everyone, including himself. The pie wasn't fixed. By working together, they could bake a much bigger one. His relationships at work deepened, and paradoxically, his own work became more visible and valued because he was seen as a key collaborator. But there was one final boss to defeat: perfectionism. As Alex grew more confident, a new problem emerged. He wanted everything to be perfect. He'd spend hours agonizing over a single font choice or a shade of color, terrified of putting out anything that was less than flawless. He'd miss deadlines, not because he was lazy, but because he was paralyzed by the fear of imperfection. He thought he was striving for excellence, but in reality, he was just stalling. His perfectionism came to a head on a project with a tight deadline. He had a great concept, but he kept tweaking it, convinced it wasn't good enough. 2 days before the deadline, his design was still a work in progress. He was a nervous wreck. Maria, his boss, checked in on him. He confessed his anxiety, showing her his half-finished work and apologizing that it wasn't perfect yet. Maria looked at his screen and then back at him. "Alex," she said calmly, "done is better than perfect. This is a great start. Let's get this version in front of the client. Their feedback will be more valuable than another day of you tweaking it in a vacuum." He was terrified, but he trusted her. He submitted the imperfect design. To his astonishment, the client loved the core concept. They had a few minor suggestions, but they were thrilled with the direction. The feedback didn't feel like criticism. It felt like a collaboration. Alex realized he had been trying to hit a bullseye in the dark. Progress, not perfection, was the goal. This was his third major shift. He learned to embrace the good enough for now, to launch the project, get the feedback, and iterate. He started treating his work like a living document, not a final monument. This didn't mean he lowered his standards. It meant he redefined success. Success wasn't a flawless final product. It was the process of continuous improvement. He started finishing projects faster. His stress levels plummeted, and, ironically, the quality of his final work improved because it was shaped by real-world feedback. From "I can't" to "I can learn." From "there's not enough" to "we can create more together." From "it must be perfect" to "let's make progress." These 3 mindset shifts didn't just change how Alex worked. They changed how he lived. He became more resilient, more optimistic, and more fulfilled. He was no longer stuck on that treadmill. He was on a path of his own making, a path of constant growth. Alex's story shows us that the biggest barriers we face are often the ones we build in our own minds. But the good news is, we also have the power to tear them down. It starts with one small choice, one decision to see things differently. If this story resonated with you and you're ready to start your own journey of transformation, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every week to help you unlock your potential and build a life you love. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.